It is the second largest museum in the world, but it has about, like when you look at the Louvre, it's the largest museum in the world, and it's probably the most visited in the world. The Hermitage, even though it's the second largest museum in the world, it's about 14th on the list as most visited. So, and part of it is hard sometimes. It has been hard at times to travel into Russia. It was founded in 1764 by Catherine the Great. And she purchased 225 Western European artworks. They have 3 million items in their collection. They can only have a few, not that many, on display at any given time. They have 6 buildings, 5 of which are open to the public. All right, welcome people that just joined. Hopefully you didn't have a lot of trouble getting in tonight. I know sometimes it can be a challenge. All right, so I'm going to play a video for you right now that's going to give you an idea of what the first one, this one's going to be about the buildings, how the Hermitage came about the way it is today, how the buildings started out. Okay, let me play this video here for you.
In March 1708, the first winter palace of Peter the Great was completed on Admiralty Island between the little river Moika and the mighty Neva. It was later reconstructed several times. We do not know who designed the original palace, but it has been suggested that it was the Swiss architect Domenico Trezzini. This residence was a single-story wooden building with a porch and an attic floor topped with a pediment surrounded by a spire. In late 1711, work was completed on a new second winter palace that was definitely designed by Domenico Trezzini. Now a 2-story building, it was protected from flooding by a high semi-basement. The main facade was marked by 3 projecting sections. Above the central one, there was a gabled dormer with 3 windows. A pair of single-story side wings flanked the palace. As time went on, the second winter palace ceased to meet the requirements of the Tsar and his family. So the German architect Georg Johann Maternove designed a new residence. The main block of the third winter palace faced the Neva, while it was adjoined by a fairly small 2-story side wing containing the royal apartments. To the south of this wing, a small parterre garden was laid out with a fountain and a little harbor for small vessels. However, this palace proved too small, and Peter decided to triple the size of the main Neva side block. By the autumn of 1723, the architects Nicolaus Friedrich Hebel, Bartolomeo Carlo Rastrelli, and Domenico Trezzini had made the fourth winter palace an immense imperial residence. The central part of the building was given the appearance of a triumphal arch. The apartments of the emperor's children were in the eastern part of the palace. The Tsar's own private rooms remained, as before, in the western block. On the second floor, an office for conducting the affairs of state was constructed for him. It was there, on the night of the 28th of January, 1725, that Peter the Great passed away. Soon, the new ruler, Peter's widow, Empress Catherine I, signed a decree on the enlargement of the Winter Palace, in accordance with which 2-story blocks were erected along the Winter Canal, and service premises were constructed around the remaining perimeter of the plot. The fifth Winter Palace became a complete quadrangle of buildings around a huge inner courtyard. After Catherine I's death in 1727, no further Russian rulers lived in this palace. In 1783, Catherine II gave orders for the Hermitage Theatre to be built on the site of Peter's Winter Palace. Following the architect Giacomo Quarenghi's plan, part of the building was dismantled, but it was decided to retain the facade overlooking the Neva. For ease of access to the theater auditorium from the large Hermitage, a covered walkway was constructed supported by an arch. In August 1786, on Catherine II's instructions, the facade of Peter the Great's Winter Palace was nonetheless dismantled to the foundation level, giving way to the majestic building of the theater. So, at the end of the 18th century, it seemed that one of the most significant edifices from Peter the Great's time had vanished forever. In 1992, however, following research work, Many of the rooms of Peter the Great's Winter Palace were recovered. The surviving part of the building was given over to an architectural and memorial display devoted to the first Russian emperor. The reconstructed private apartments of Peter the Great make it possible to sense the unique atmosphere of his era, an age that opened a new chapter in the history of Russia.
All right. And we have a few people that have joined a little late there. Has anyone been to the Hermitage? I just thought I'd ask.
I was just able to join. I couldn't get in.
Oh, yeah, trouble. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people had some trouble going in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'll let them know. Anyone been to the Hermitage? You can see it's gone through quite a bit of change over the centuries from being a little palace. Maria, have you been there?
Yes.
Yeah, what can you tell us about it?
Oh my goodness. This was back in 1999. So it's
It was a while ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It's a very large museum.
Yeah.
Very, very large. All right, I'm going to play another little video for you that shows you a little bit more inside, what's inside the museum. So for those that have been there, you might get a little feel for, brings back some memories of what it looked like back then. And for other people, you'll get to see what this massive museum looks like.
Russia's State Hermitage is one of the world's greatest art museums, with a collection numbering around 3 million works of art. The superb architectural ensemble of the museum buildings is situated in the very center of St. Petersburg and includes the Winter Palace, the former official residence of the Russian emperors, as well as the buildings of the small, large and new Hermitages and the Hermitage Theatre. The Jordan staircase opens the way to the suite of state rooms in the imperial residence. Grand processions would ascend it on their way to the large throne room. That hall, created in the austere neoclassical style, is striking for the grandeur of its architectural concept. At the far end, the throne of the Russian emperors stands on a raised dais. The small throne room has a commemorative function, being devoted to the memory of Peter the Great, the founder